Hey, this is Shashank Jani, and I'm honored and privileged to be with David Avrin, an expert on customer experience. David, I'd like to ask you a question which might phase onto three different areas.
Sure.
One is retail. I've spent considerable time in the brick and mortar stores, and then the online, the Amazons of the world came
Right.
in, and that's changed, that disrupted retail.
Changed everything.
And of course, the third area is our own customer experience.
Sure.
Say in a corporate area, internal customers and external customers. How do we deal with? So let me begin first with the brick and mortar experience of how is it changed, or what is your take on that?
Everything's changed. I mean, it's changed in a few different ways. Most of the traditional brick and mortar stores have also morphed into what we call the click and mortar as well, right? So they've got an online component and they have the retail component. Right. But the biggest change, of course, has happened to them with the prevalence of options available online and otherwise. Competition is fierce, and in most cases there's no way that they're going to be able to compete on price. It doesn't suggest, and let me be clear, that you have to be price competitive. You have to. Even if you're premium, as long as you're in line with other premium brands, you have to be price competitive. But in terms of online, there's greater choices with the variety of vendors. There's lower prices. So in the retail environment, we've had to think differently about give them a real reason to come in, reason to come back again and again. Now, a lot of people sort of in the customer service space will talk about creating wow moments. I'm not a big fan of wow moments. I mean, I think if they happen, that's great, but it's hard for me to celebrate that somebody else, got a wow moment and they drove all night to bring them a dress or a suit, right? But what I am talking about is from a retail perspective is there's got to be a reason to come in. There's such I think such an advantage to being able to see and feel and touch and try things on and ask questions for somebody who knows what they're talking about. When we believe as consumers that everything's the same, I talk about the four most dangerous words in business, which are all things being equal. When everything's the same, then we're going to go for the lower price. Just buy it online, we don't have to leave the house. The people in retail, they can never let everything be the same. There's expertise, there's choices, there's sights and feels and touches and fit, and the things that you can't get online, but we have to remind them of all of that as well.
Correct. Right, so that's great. And we'd like to get into the area of customer experience in a corporate environment. First is internal, or probably how do you have the touch points with people for
Sure.
corporate?
But I think it's important to walk your customer's path. And I know that sounds basic, but I think there's a lot of people who misconstrue the differences between customer service, or I think that customer experience is just an extension of customer service. And the reality is it's a different animal altogether. Customer experience is the interactions that we might have with a customer, with a client, with an internal audience, a vendor, or somebody else as well. But the experience is how we judge at the end of that journey if we would do it again. Right? If we can talk all we want about our quality and commitment and caring and trust in people, but if we have to wait for it, or we're put on hold, or we can't find a phone number on your website, it ruins our experience. And the reality is there's so many choices, and it's really easy to leave you for somebody else, right? Yeah. So within almost any of these environments, it's really important to understand all of the touch points. And there's more than most people think, right? You do this because you consult on this. Yeah. And ask the question at every point of contact, in the research part, or in the questions, or the buying, or the customizing, or the delivery. Ask the question, could that be done better, or faster, or smarter, or more engaging, or more memorably, or more importantly, with less friction? Are there things that we're doing, are there things that we're saying no to that we could easily say yes to? Correct. Because we want predictability, right, in that customer path. And it makes sense if it's a quick serve restaurant, right? We line up here, we go in queue, we order here, we customize here, we pay for it, and then we get our soft drink. That makes sense. But most people's businesses are more complex than that. Right. It would be great if we could design our customer's journey exactly the way we want. But the winning companies today, the retailers and others, are flexible to do business the way our customers want to do. Today, we have to be extraordinarily accommodating
Correct.
to needs and special requests and others.
Great, that's a wonderful tip, and I'm sure our viewers are going to look forward to see that how they can apply this wonderful knowledge from you, David.
Sure.
So, David, another question is about gamification, engaging.
Yes.
There are different generations now. What's your take on that?
I love
How
it.
to go?
I love the idea of gamification. Not everybody understands what that means. Is anything where there's a contest or check-in or how much progress have you made? There's a great website, a company called Pro Habits, where every day you get a new habit to do, and it asks you at the beginning, are you going to commit to doing it? At the end of the day, did you do it?
Correct.
And then it shows a leaderboard and who's doing it. Anything that adds a level of competition, or even if you compete against yourself. Back in our day, we had that, but it was just, it was a frequent flyer card, it was a punch card,
Yeah.
right? Or way back when it was green stamps or something else, but you get a little punch, and if you fill up the whole card, you get something free at the end. So I think anything that we can do as businesses, as retailers, to incentivize frequency and retention is paramount to the success of our business. Not many businesses can survive on episodic single purchases. Even online, they recognize that you make a purchase and you're immediately bombarded with sales every day and unfortunately reminders to fill out their survey and everything else. But gamification, it's great. Anything that you can do to reward people for both frequency and longevity is very beneficial.
Oh, great, thanks.
And some of it's very clever. I'm 56 years old and I do it.
Right, great, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the new thing in the learning and
Yeah.
development part for the corporates. And what would you like to tell our viewers about your book on customer
Sure.
service?
The-
That's
the-
some 23 points.
The brand new book, it just happens to be, oh, look, there it is. Brand new book actually published here by Embassy Books in India. It's called Why Customers Leave and How to Win Them Back. Forbes just named this as one of the top 10 books for 2019. Is available everywhere at bookstores and online, but it's the message that's important, and it's what I deliver in my speaking, in my consulting work. So if you want to learn more about me, you can look me up at davidavrin.com. If you want to potentially engage me here in India or in the region, my manager at rightselection.com can tell you all about it. But I'd love to come in. I work with organizations, and we dig deep into helping them craft and envision and deliver a superior customer experience.
Fantastic. David, it was such a pleasure to have
you as well.
here,
Thank you,
and,
friend.
Yeah, thank you very much. And we look forward to the launch
Thank
on
you.
LinkedIn.
There you go.
And we look forward to hearing your event on the talk and being there and listening more on that day.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.